Maria, the imposter syndrome, when you and I talked about it, like me, you hadn't heard of it before, right? And then when I started to break down for you the definitions, you were like, oh my goodness, that's so me.
Yeah.
And in particular, it was to do with when it resonated with your achievements, is that right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And actually I started reading up on it a little bit more, just to understand it a little bit more. And I think everyone suffers from it in some sort of way. But for me in particular, it's, I'm in a pretty high-powered job. And in that, and just even saying that, by the way, is like really uncomfortable for me, because I just don't feel like I'm smart enough to be there, or I deserve to be in the job that I'm in, or I can't believe they're paying me to do this. When are they going to realize that actually I have no clue what I'm doing? And this is coming from someone that has won 4 awards, 4 years straight, for being the top salesperson in a global organization.
Is that hard for you to say?
That's even harder for me to say. I started to choke up. Now, where are those awards? They are in a box in a cupboard. I've never once posted them on social media like most people would, being like, oh look, I won an award at work. Never done that. I find it very hard to talk about it, and mainly because I just don't feel like I deserve those, or oh my gosh, I need to do even more now because I need to make sure that they don't find out that actually I'm not that good. So it's like it's exhausting. It's a constant battle that you're fighting, and actually, it's like having your own worst enemy living in your head, telling you you're not good enough. Oh, you got the award this year. There's no way they're going to give it to you next year. Like, and it's just constant. It is just constant negativity that you're like trying to deal with in your head to make sure that you're like going to get there or be good enough. I don't know what that looks like.
You said that the way in which it impacts you is that you cover it up, like the awards are hidden. You feel like you have to work harder, so you work harder.
So I work harder. It's a treadmill that you never get off of, because you want to keep that status. You don't want anyone to realize that actually, you know, you're not that good. But clearly you are, because you've got these awards, right? Yes. So it's this like whole thing. It is just a battle with yourself, because I just don't feel like I deserve to be where I am. I feel very privileged to be where I am, so I just need to keep working harder to. I don't really know what the end point is, though.
Yeah. Because I know for a fact that if it was me as your friend sitting saying all this to you, that would bother you. You'd be really annoyed at me. You would be like, Marcia, we're going to go to that box and we're going to go get those awards and we're going to flip and put them on the mantelpiece, right?
Yeah.
So
I had a friend come around and do that.
Did
and they
you?
were like, where are they? And they took them out, and I was like, put them back. Like, we're not.
Really?
Like, yeah. He's like, oh no, I'm going to post this on social media. I was like, no, you're not. Like, no, you're not. So yeah. And
something else that you talked to me about in the past with regards to the imposter syndrome, another thing that you do is when you meet, like you grew up with a lot of male friends, so for example when they get girlfriends, or just when you're meeting people in general, you very quickly you'll get alongside the girl to try and make her feel comfortable, or you'll dumb yourself down, or you'll talk about your weaknesses and make a fool out of yourself. Yeah,
it kind of made sense in my head, but when you say it like that, it sounds so dumb. Because in my head, I have very close guy friends. Most of my best friends are men, and I love them so much that I knew when someone important came into their lives, because they would introduce them, and I very quickly wanted to make sure that they weren't threatened by me. So the thing that I would do, and I still do it to this day, even when I meet other women, is let me show you everything that's wrong with me. Don't look at the fact that I've got this great job and all this kind of stuff. Let me tell you what's wrong with me, and I'll just lead with that. I want you to see my weaknesses. I want you to see everything that's wrong with me, so you can relate to me, because I don't think you can relate to me if you see this strong, confident woman. And then it's like a battle of, again, I don't know, I'm 38 and I don't know who I am. It's like, am I this strong, confident woman, which I am in some respects, and then on the other side of things, it's like, no, I've got so many flaws, let me tell you what they are. It's definitely breaking that pattern. It's like, like I said, it's like that enemy living in your head, but once you realize that enemy is an imposter, you can then be like, okay, I'm not listening to you anymore.
Yeah.
But it is a daily thing, because you're so trained. Like, this is how many odd years that I've been speaking to myself like this, and I can get pretty nasty sometimes to myself. I can look in the mirror and I can say some really awful things. And to someone else's point, that they said, if your friend spoke to you like that, you would never speak to them again. And I speak to my self-awful. But it's taking that thought captive, making sure that you put it to the side and say, look, I'm not going to believe that because this is who I am. But you genuinely have to believe it for yourself, and that's the hardest thing. That's what you need to work on first. Believe it for yourself, so you can start getting those thoughts and be like, no, this isn't who I am.
Yeah.
My hope for myself is that the length of time it takes me to take that thought and cast it away gets shorter and shorter and shorter. Right? So it's not me beating myself up for 20 minutes. It's like, oh, that thought's coming into my head, 30 seconds later it's gone. That's what I want to get to, and that's what I will keep trying.
And I think we'll know you've got there the next time we come round and the awards are on the mantelpiece.
Yeah,
you shouldn't have told me that story.
We might have to work on
every
that.
time I come round and go, how's that mantelpiece working out for you? Thank you. A word of encouragement for the viewer, or a practical take home. Shall we start with Maria?
Yeah, I would just say now that you're aware of it, now that you know that it exists, because a lot of us didn't until Marcia told us about it. I said this before, I think just making sure that you're very aware of the situations that you're going into, be very aware of the voices that are in your head, and just know who you are and how hard you have worked, and that you do deserve to be there. And no one can take away what you've done. No one can take away your journey to get there. So acknowledge all your achievements, which I say, and it's hard for me to do, but acknowledge all your achievements and have good people around you to keep reminding of who you are.
Great. Next time on the 7 series.
When you see other people embracing your ideas and just like, oh, actually that did work. If I stay silent, nothing's gonna happen. But if I speak, then other people will buy into your vision.